If it's Monday, the Secretaries of State and Defense meet with President Zelensky in Kyiv, vowing more aid and the return of American diplomats as the U.S. faces questions about its objective to weaken Russia. Plus, lawmakers return to the Hill, where they face a barrage of questions about the fate of President Biden's stalled domestic agenda. We'll talk to a top progressive Democrat as the president begins a busy week tackling COVID funding and the fate of Title 42. And Trump's election lies take center stage in the first Republican debate in Georgia's governor's race, as the former president rallies supporters in Ohio. We have the latest on what it means for Republicans and for the midterms ahead. Welcome to Meet the Press Daily. I'm Garrett Hake, in for Chuck Todd. And for the first time since the war in Ukraine began, two high-level Biden administration officials have set foot in war-torn Kyiv. Secretary of State Tony Blinken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin met with President Zelensky over the weekend in Ukraine's capital city.
If it's Tuesday, the Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, testifies before the Senate as the U.S. presses its Western allies for more military support for Ukraine amid new evidence of war crimes in Mariupol. This as President Biden faces new legal and political uncertainty at home after a federal judge moves to block the administration from winding down the pandemic-era restrictions at the southern border. And mean, three-ring circus, disappointing. That's just some of the reaction from undecided voters in battleground Pennsylvania after watching last night's fiery Republican Senate primary debate. We'll go county to county in this crucial race just ahead. Welcome to Meet the Press Daily. I'm Chuck Todd. Just days after meeting face-to-face with President Zelensky in Kyiv, two of the White House's top national security officials are facing renewed questions about the administration's policy towards the war in Ukraine. On the Hill right now, the Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, is testifying before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee after telling lawmakers that Ukrainian producer. Oh, that's what he... If it's Wednesday, it's another audio leak and another moment of truth for Kevin McCarthy and the House Republicans, as the caucus meets today, still unwilling to reckon with what happened on January 6th. Plus, Russia cuts off gas supplies to NATO members Poland and Bulgaria in a major economic escalation of the war as the Biden administration negotiates a prisoner swap to free American Trevor Reed. And Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas testifies before Congress as the administration releases a long-awaited plan to address the expected migrant surge when it ends Title 42 restrictions at the southern border at some point. Welcome to Meet the Press Daily. As you saw from that intro, it's a pretty busy day, a lot of topics that could have vied for the lead today, but we're going to begin with the new fallout inside the Republican Party, as House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy had to meet behind closed doors with his members this morning after yet another leak of audio from the immediate aftermath of the January 6th insurrection. Last time it was leaked audio. If it's Thursday, President Biden asked Congress for a massive $33 billion in additional aid to Ukraine for the next 5 months as the U.S. wades deeper into the conflict. We're going to speak with the special advisor to the White House's National Security Council ahead. Plus, lawmakers are in search of a breakthrough on legislation addressing the climate crisis, inflation, immigration, and more. We'll speak from a couple of senators from both sides of the aisle who claim they want to try to get something bipartisan done before the elections. And Republican Governor Ron DeSantis heads west to battleground Nevada as he eyes big plans for his party in 2024. And perhaps he may care a little bit about 2022. We'll head west as well. Welcome to Meet the Press Daily. I'm Chuck Todd here in Washington. The White House is signaling another escalation in the battle with Vladimir Putin amid new signs the war risks spreading beyond Ukraine's borders. This morning, President Biden requested $33 billion in supplemental aid, money he'll be able to draw down on.
Chuck Todd with MTV Daily starts right now.
If it's Friday, a planned rescue operation in Mariupol, missile strikes in Kyiv, an American fighter reportedly killed in action, and tens of billions in potential military aid from the U.S. We will have the very latest from Ukraine and from the Pentagon just ahead. This is the humanitarian crisis in Eastern Europe worsens with millions displaced and the number of civilian casualties on the rise. We're going to speak with a top UNICEF official who is on the ground in Ukraine right now as aid workers there scramble to save as many people as they can. And about Ukraine aid and COVID relief, the border crisis, it's all a tangled web of potential legislation on Capitol Hill as Democrats try to push forward on this stalled agenda. The top Democrat in the Progressive Caucus, Pramila Jayapal, she joins me just ahead. Welcome to Meet the Press Daily. I'm Peter Alexander in for Chuck Todd. Right now, Ukrainian officials say they are mounting an effort to evacuate civilians from Mariupol as Russian forces keep bombarding the besieged city. Just